How's it going? It's NuttyChef again, and this is episode 22 on the Diamond Society server. Well, last episode we built that church up there and it was pretty good. It turned out a lot better than I thought, especially because I had to work around the doors and stuff, like getting light in and stuff like that. And that was really good because it covered up all of the redstone from the villager breeder that we've got up there. And we also did some work inside some of these tunnels under the ground and made them look a little bit nicer instead of just the stone and the inside of the ground. So now we've got a nice place to come and choose our villagers and pick which house that they're going to go into and stuff like that. So now from there we can just keep building tunnels to new houses and getting more and more villagers populating our little city here. So yeah, and we also, between episodes, the C&G Health Services accepted our payment of our fine. We kind of cheated a little bit because we paid in emeralds and we just called them diamonds, but they still graciously accepted our payment, so that's good. Because from what I can see, we don't want to get on the bad side of those guys. They could cause a lot of trouble for us if we do. But yeah, this episode we are going to start a new project, and it's going to be right here. It's going to be another redstone project, and basically what I want to do is I want to put a furnace in right here, and I've measured it out. I can't remember how wide it was. I think it was like, we've got a maximum of 10 blocks from there to there sideways, and we've got a maximum of about 25 long ways that we can squeeze it in there. And what I want to put in there is a furnace array, like a super smelter. So I've needed one for a while. I've only got a couple of furnaces in there in our castle, and it just takes so long. Like, I'm sick of waiting for my stuff to be smelted. And actually recently Cortez built a nice furnace in the nether. But the problem is I like building furnaces, so I kind of want to build my own, and it's about time that I build one anyway in my base. So yeah, I've got a couple of designs in my test world which I've been working on. One didn't really work out and one did work out, so let's go over there now and have a look. Alrighty, so here we are in the test world, and here's the first design I came up with. So I needed it to be very skinny and not too long, so like no more than 25 blocks long, and try not to make it more than 10 blocks wide. And the good news is, normally you wouldn't make furnace arrays like this, or I wouldn't, because when it's so closely packed together, like these hoppers right next to the furnaces and then another hopper right next to the next furnace, like as closely packed together as you can, if you make a mistake and put an item into the wrong channel, then you need to be able to access the furnace to get it out. Otherwise you have to break stuff to get in there. But in one of the recent updates they changed the hitbox of the hopper, where it used to be a full block and you wouldn't be able to click on that furnace, and now the hitbox is actually like around the actual shape of the hopper, so you can click through there and actually click on the furnace. So if we make a mistake and put something where it's not meant to go, we can come along here and just pick it out of the furnaces no problem. So hopefully by putting it this close together we don't run into any problems. But with this first design I kind of did run into a problem, and it does look kind of cool, but it's kind of doesn't work. So basically my idea was to have so we've got 64 furnaces here, 16 times 4. So, and we've got a minecart running across the top of every single line here. So we've got 4 minecarts for smeltable items and 4 minecarts for the fuel. And we've got one controlling mechanism that controls all of the smeltable item minecarts, and one controlling mechanism which controls all of the fuel minecarts. And the problem I ran into was trying to power each of those minecarts without powering the hoppers and blocking the hoppers, and I just could not find a way to do it. And as you can see here, this hopper's locked, and you know, there was just no way. It's just so closely knit together that I couldn't figure out a way to power these blocks to send the minecarts on their way without blocking some of the hoppers and stuff like that. It's just too close together. But in making this, I did find a cool way to split items from one chest into 4 separate lines perfectly evenly. And as you can see here, I tried this. I mean, it's pretty big for what it does, but it doesn't work. You get like all the items into these 2 chests here. So that didn't work. And then I tried this. That didn't work. I was trying to lock like one of the hoppers on each of these chests here and have a clock. Like these were observer clocks, and then I had a repeater out here. I tried all different timings to try and lock and unlock these hoppers, so that sometimes the items would go into this hopper and sometimes they go into this hopper, but no matter what timings I chose, I just couldn't get it to consistently give me an even output. And I tried all different clocks, like comparator clocks and stuff like that, and nothing worked. But then I found this online and it was perfect. You get perfect distribution of items every time, and that's what I used here for the smeltable items and the fuel. But in the end, this design was just a bit too, just did not work. I could probably figure it out, but I'd have to build it again, and it was getting a bit too wide on the sides. I wanted to keep a slim profile so it could fit into that space that I showed you. So then I just simplified it a bit and came up with this one. So we've still got the 64 furnaces in the exact same array, but instead of 4 minecarts for the fuel and 4 for the smeltable items, we've just got 1 for the fuel down there and 1 for the smeltable items here. And it just goes around like a loop like this, and then stops there and then goes back all the way around to there, and the same with the fuel on that lower level there. So that's much more simple. And then we've just got 1 controlling mechanism for that fuel one and 1 controlling mechanism for this smeltable items one. And it looks a little bit messy, I have to admit, even though this one does look kind of messy, but it does look a bit more uniform and nice looking. This one does look a bit uglier. It's definitely not elegant, but it does work absolutely perfectly. So I put 8 stacks of 64 of coal and 8 stacks of 64 of smeltable items in, and we got all 8 stacks in here. And the reason I wanted to go with 64 is because without going any more advanced than this, because I saw in Cub Fans, in Hermitcraft, in one of his videos, he had this massive super smelter, which I think he got the design from someone else, and it just smelts stacks upon stacks like so quickly. But in order to do that, you have to do some sort of wizardry, I'm not sure, which breaks the speed of hopper lines, because even if we had more than 64 furnaces here, if they're all going into one hopper line, into one chest, it's only going to come through at the speed of these hoppers. So by having 64 furnaces here, if we're waiting for our items here and we see this ticking up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it gets to, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, it's going to straight away go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to straight away go to the next stack. So by having 64 furnaces, we've hit the hopper limit, I think, of items, the transfer speed. So without going any more advanced, which I don't know how, we've gone as fast as we can here. So yeah, I think I'm going to build this, and it fits nicely. It's 24 blocks long, so we've hit that mark, and it's the same size, like there's no sticking out bits, it's like, I think it's 8 blocks wide, so it should fit into that space nicely. The only problem is now I've got to find a way to get a lot of hoppers, probably 4 or 5 stacks of hoppers, all these furnaces, all these rails, and all these materials. So I'll see you back over in the Diamond Society server, and we'll try and begin construction. Okay, well, I just got myself some more pork from our butchers there, and we're back in the world here in the Diamond Society, and we've got a little problem to take care of down there, and so I've dug out where I'm gonna build this thing, and I've gotten most of the resources that I'm gonna need. So let's take a look. And my idea was, the reason why I'm building it right in the middle there is because I kind of want a bit more of the red in the middle of the whole city, because there's going to be a lot of these colored houses all around here, and I really like this red sort of encasing the whole city here. And I sort of wanted to put some more red right there in the center. So like, we can carry that same color through into the center of the whole city. So it's going to be sort of, I'm thinking like a factory kind of building that's going to go around this. And it's just going to be in the same color scheme as these two buildings here, and the towers that we've got here, and the walls and stuff like that. So it's all going to be consistent, and it's all going to flow together. So that's the idea. So let's get down there, and I've measured it out. Actually, get rid of that dirt pillar later. Let's fly. So here we go. So I've worked it out pretty much to be just gonna fit into this area. So that's lucky. We managed to squeeze 64 furnaces into this area, hopefully. So from this block here, this will be the wall, but from this block to that block is 16, so we can chuck our furnaces in there, 4 rows of 16, and then over here we've got a space for all the redstone, the controlling mechanisms for the mine carts. And if it's not enough space in between here, we can shave a couple lines off here, and the building will have to poke through that corner bit there, but that's okay. We can just let the building rise up through that if we have to. So basically I've got my redstone box here, got lots of hoppers, had to cut down a whole bunch of trees, got our furnaces here, so I'll put these hoppers and furnaces in, and I'll see you after that. So I thought I'd come back and just show you a little bit of how I'm going to make this, just for anyone who doesn't know what's going on from what I showed you in the test world there, because it was kind of covered up. They're all kind of together and covered up. So basically we've just got some hoppers here, all pointing into this chest here, which is actually where the wall's going to go, but we can actually make this hopper that's pointing into it go underground, which I think I'll do, and come sort of up here, and we might have an elevator going up to somewhere around where we have the input chests, like an item elevator for our, and have a chest on top of that for the smelted stuff to go into. But basically we're just putting rows of hoppers along here. So there's going to be a wall here running along just inside this wall, and we're just putting rows like this, 16 blocks long, leaving a space, doing it again, another space, and another space, and then we're just going to take our furnaces and just put them directly on top of these hoppers. So 4 rows of 64, just like this, and then the fuel goes in the backs of all these hoppers, so just in the back like this. And I've already worked out a problem. That hopper underneath is going to suck items out of there, so we are going to have to push all of these back by 1, but that's okay. And all of those furnaces probably just went into there, yep, so that's okay. So we've just got hoppers going along like that. You know, these are going to be rows of 16, and then we've just got hoppers going in the top, and that's where our stuff that we want to smelt will go into. So yeah, and if you've noticed, I don't know if you have, but it's a little bit quieter. My keyboard and mouse is a little bit quieter now, a lot quieter actually, because I got a new keyboard and mouse which are like silent keyboards and mouse, and the keyboard you can hear, but it's a lot quieter than what it was. But the mouse, you pretty much can't even hear it at all, and so I'm really happy with that. It wasn't too expensive. It was like $40 for the keyboard and $30 for the mouse, and I'd rather try that than record the audio separately with like Audacity or something like that and try and sync it up. I'd rather try this first, because syncing up the audio and stuff and recording it in another program is so much of a pain in the butt. So if this works well enough, then I'll be happy with that. So let me finish off all of this, and then I'll see ya once it's done. Well, I've built it now, so there's only one way to get rid of it. Righty guys, well now we have a lot of coal. That was actually Crafting Mantis's coal that she gave me ages ago. I've been using it slowly, but I just decided to mine the whole thing down so we could fill up our furnace here with heaps of coal. So yeah, I've built it. Here it is, just like in the test well. Should work perfectly. I've encountered a couple of problems, but I've fixed them, so it should be all good now. And these controlling mechanisms for the minecart are actually my own design. I've got a tutorial on them. It's actually the only tutorial I've ever made, so I'll link that in the description. But they're perfect for a furnace. Basically what they do is the minecart loads up down here, because we don't want the minecarts just going all the time, do we? That would be annoying and loud, and I don't know, might make lag or something. But basically what they do is it fills up with items from the chest up there, and let's get rid of that guy. And once the items have run out, it'll send the minecart, or if the minecart becomes full, it'll send the minecart, and the minecart will go along, fill up all the furnaces, and then come back, and if it's still got items in it, it'll detect it here, and it will send it on its way again straight away. So it'll empty itself out, and once it's emptied out, it'll come back here to a rest, and if there's still more items to go in, it'll just start again and fill up again. So it works perfectly. It's just basically, it looks a bit ugly from here, but basically there's just one sort of minecart loader here, and then another one down below here in the opposite direction, mirrored, for the coal down here, and that's for the smeltable items. So let's go ahead and put some coal and stuff in. Let's just put all this coal in, and that'll do, 8 stacks. Well, let's just put it all in, and just put 3 stacks of cobblestone in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything is all good, we will get 3 stacks of cobblestone down there, and then we know we've done it correctly. So I'll come back in a sec and show you. And I think we're on to a winner here, guys. And as you can see, that's what I wanted. As soon as it fills up a stack, it starts on the next stack. So we're going pretty much as fast as we can without doing other stuff. Like, I don't know how we could make it go even faster. Maybe have minecarts underneath the furnaces delivering the items to the chest. But there we go, 3 stacks of smooth stone, and it all works perfectly, so that's excellent. Alright, I'm very happy with that. So now we've got ourselves a nice super smelter. So next episode, hopefully, we will be doing the outside building for this, and I've got a few ideas. So I'm thinking a factory kind of style, and I've got a few ideas of where everything's going to go. So yeah, but I think that'll be it for this episode, guys. Thanks again for watching. This has been NuttyChef, and I'll see you in the next episode.